Tonight, we invite you to join us as we uncover the mysteries of ancient megaliths built to defy the Great Flood. More than just ruins, they're a testament to that lost world. Our first stop is high in the Peruvian Andes, on the shores of Lake Umayo, near the ancient city of Puno. Here, at an altitude of nearly 13,000 feet, where the air is thin and the landscape is starkly beautiful, stands the site of Sillustani. It is a necropolis of ancient cylindrical funerary towers, known as Chullpas. These structures, built by the pre-Incan Collar people and later adopted by the Inca, were designed to house the remains of nobility. But look beyond their funerary purpose, and you will see a mystery that defies simple explanation. The most magnificent Chullpas are built from massive, perfectly fitted stone blocks, some reaching up to 12 meters in height. The precision is astonishing. We're not talking about rough, cobbled-together rocks. These are stones so meticulously shaped and polished that they fit together without any mortar whatsoever. A single sheet of paper, let alone a knife blade, cannot be slipped into the joints. This is ashlar masonry, taken to an extreme degree, and it's a skill that is not supposed to be part of the ancient world's toolkit. What if the builders of Sillustani did not use simple stone hammers and bronze chisels? What if they possessed a far more advanced lost technology for working with stone? What if they could heat the surfaces of the stones to make them pliable, or use a tool that vibrated at a frequency high enough to break down the rock's molecular structure, allowing for effortless cutting and shaping? The perfect circular and trapezoidal shapes, the flawless surfaces, and the incredible tolerances of these joints all suggest a level of mastery that points not to brute force but to something far more elegant and scientific. What if the Incas, often credited with this work, were simply heirs to a much older tradition, mimicking the techniques of a vanished civilization they themselves only vaguely understood? This profound mystery deepens when you consider that many of the stones used in these Chullpas were not from the immediate area. They were transported from quarries miles away and across difficult, mountainous terrain. The sheer effort of moving these multi-ton blocks, combined with the inexplicable precision of their carving and fitting, hints at a lost mechanical advantage. Now let's cross the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean and journey to the heart of Japan, to the ancient region of Asuka. Here, in the same way that Sillustani's mystery lies hidden in plain sight, we find two equally baffling monuments that share the same unnerving silence in the historical record. The first is the Ishi no Hoden, or the floating stone. This is not a monument of transportation, but one of in situ quarrying and carving. A colossal 500-ton megalith carved from the surrounding rhyolite tuff bedrock. The Ishi no Hoden appears to hover over a small pond. It is a work of breathtaking audacity, a building-sized monument left unfinished, still attached to its source rock at the back. Its purpose is unknown, and the historical records, which are so meticulous for other Japanese antiquities, are utterly silent on its creation. The stone is shaped like a flattened cube, with a rectangular protrusion, and a small gap runs between its base and the surrounding bedrock. This gap, filled with water, creates the illusion that the stone is floating. What if the Ishi no Hoden was never intended to be moved at all, but instead it was a power conduit, a tuning fork, or an energy receptor for a forgotten technology? Could it have been designed to harness the telluric energy of the Earth, or to be a part of an ancient global energy grid? The floating effect may not be a simple optical illusion, but a design choice intended to isolate the stone for a purpose we cannot yet grasp. The fact that the pond around it never dries up, even in times of drought, suggests a deep connection to the Earth's natural water table, further hinting at a site of ritual or technological significance. A short distance away lies the equally perplexing Masuda no Iwauna, or the rock boat. This monolith is even larger than the floating stone, weighing an estimated 800 tons. It sits atop a hill with two perfectly carved 1 meter square holes in its top surface. Again, like the Ishi no Hoden, there is no historical record of its purpose or its builders. It is simply there, a geometric puzzle left behind by an unknown civilization. What if Masuda no Iwani was an ancient astronomical observatory, with the holes on its surface aligned to track specific celestial events, perhaps the movements of a long-lost star or a comet, or maybe it was a part of a larger, now-vanished technological device? The clean, precise angles and the almost machine-like feel of the carvings suggest a process far more advanced than anything that should have existed in ancient Japan. Perhaps the technology used to carve these stones was a form of sonic or vibrational cutting, a method that would leave no tool marks, thus explaining the mystery of their flawless surfaces. The impossible precision of Sillustani and the unfinished enigmatic stones of Japan are not isolated incidents. They are part of a global phenomenon that challenges our very understanding of human history. Beneath the scorching sands of Abydos, where the desert wind carries whispers of ancient pharaohs, lies one of Egypt's most profound secrets. The Osireion rests in mysterious silence, its massive granite pillars standing like forgotten giants beneath the temple of Seti I. But this is no ordinary Egyptian monument. Its very presence presents a chronological paradox. Descending into the Osireion is like stepping backward through millennia. The structure reveals itself gradually, with colossal blocks of sandstone and red Aswan granite, weighing up to 100 tons each. Unlike the elegant, inscribed temples of the pharaohs that stand above it, the Osireion is austere and cyclopean. It has no hieroglyphs, no images of gods or kings, only the raw, undeniable power of its construction. It is a work of immense scale, built with a level of seismic precision that seems to mock the Bronze Age capabilities of the civilization it is officially attributed to. This is where the mystery deepens and where we must politely question the official story. Mainstream archaeology tells us that the Osireion was built during Egypt's New Kingdom period by Pharaoh Seti I, who reigned from 1294 to 1279 BC. The evidence for this is clear. His temple is built directly above it, and he had an inscription placed on one of its walls. But does this prove he built the structure? Consider this. The Osireion is a complete stylistic anomaly within all of Egyptian architecture. The structures of the New Kingdom are known for their intricate hieroglyphs, detailed carvings, and soaring elegance. The Osireion, in stark contrast, is a monument of pure megalithic construction, reminiscent of sites found in entirely different parts of the world, like the monumental platforms of Baalbek in Lebanon, or the foundations of Sacsayhuamán in Peru. Its stone-on-stone engineering, with blocks so precisely fitted that not a credit card could pass between them, has led some to argue that it was built by a culture with a much more advanced understanding of stonework than the Egyptians of Seti I. But perhaps the most compelling piece of evidence lies in the structure's unique relationship with water. The entire Osireion is built far below the surrounding ground level, at the bottom of a large, man-made pit. It is perpetually filled with groundwater, which has led many to question its original purpose. While it is known that the Egyptians venerated the primordial waters of creation, symbolized by the god Osiris, the presence of these massive water-stained walls has given rise to a far more intriguing theory. Some researchers, looking beyond the conventional narrative, believe the Osireion was not built to contain water, but rather it was found submerged by water. It is possible it was one of the first monuments to be uncovered by the Egyptians after a cataclysmic flood event. The visible water damage on its lower walls, combined with its subterranean location, has led to speculation that it was impacted by the same deluge that is a cornerstone of myths and legends across the globe. Could this be a foundation from a lost civilization, later rediscovered and built upon by the Egyptians? Adding to this puzzle is the single inscription of Seti, the first on the structure. Mainstream archaeologists interpret this as his signature, a definitive claim of authorship. However, some researchers note that the inscription appears to be a later addition. The carving is shallow and does not seem to belong to the main structure itself. If Seti I had truly built this monument, why is his claim to it so subtle? Why are there no other dedications, no other hieroglyphs, no other pharaonic symbols celebrating its construction? The absence of these hallmarks of Egyptian pride is a powerful silence. The evidence, when viewed through a different lens, begins to tell a new story. A story not of a pharaoh building an anomalous temple, but of a pharaoh finding a remnant of a more ancient time and claiming it for himself. It is a story that suggests the civilization of the new kingdom was built on the ruins of another, far older culture, one that possessed a mastery of engineering that we have yet to fully understand. The Osireion, then, is more than a tomb or a temple. It is a monument that forces us to re-evaluate our understanding of human history. It stands as a silent witness, a single compelling piece of a larger global puzzle. It hints at a world that existed long before our written records begin, a world that was lost to a flood so catastrophic that its memory was preserved not in books, but in the enduring whispers of stone. If a single isolated structure can challenge so much of what we know, what other secrets lie buried beneath the sands of time? And what can they tell us about the civilization that once knew how to build to survive a coming catastrophe? Before we continue our journey through these ancient mysteries, if you're finding these stories as fascinating as I am, a simple like and subscribe helps this channel reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers. Your support allows us to explore more of these incredible mysteries together. Diving deeper into the secrets our ancestors left hidden in stone and legend. Our journey into the forgotten world of pre-delugeous civilizations now leads us beneath the warm, azure waters of the Mediterranean Sea. Far from the tourist-laden shores of Sicily, in the deep strait that separates Europe from Africa, lies another profound mystery, the Sicilian Channel monolith. Discovered in 2015 by a team of marine archaeologists, this incredible object is not a natural rock formation, but a single, massive piece of stone, some 12 meters long and weighing an estimated 15 tons. Resting 40 meters below the surface, it is now broken into two pieces, but its perfectly regular shape and the three deliberately cut holes within its structure leave no doubt as to its artificial origin. Scientists have concluded that it was quarried from a site nearly a kilometre away, an act of monumental engineering that would have required a level of social organisation and technical skill we do not attribute to the Mesolithic hunter-gatherer societies of the time. But it is the monolith's age that truly shatters conventional timelines. Based on the sea level rise data for the region, the area where the monolith was found was dry land approximately 9,350 years ago. This places its construction firmly within a period we consider to be humanity's technological infancy, thousands of years before the first known megalithic builders of Europe and millennia before the pyramids of Egypt. Its very existence is a chronological paradox, a stone-carved whisper from an era we have long considered to be without such grand monuments. The Sicilian Channel monolith forces us to reconsider the human story. Who were these people? What was the purpose of this solitary sentinel in a land that is now a watery abyss? Was it a sacred object, a pillar marking a key location in a now lost archipelago? Or was it, like the Raric stone wall, a testament to a society that had already mastered large-scale construction, a people who understood the coming changes to their world? The land where the monolith stood was once a bridge, a series of islands connecting what we now know as Sicily to Tunisia, a potential migration route between two continents. The rising waters of the post-glacial flood erased this world from the map, leaving the monolith behind as a lone, poignant reminder. Its discovery echoes the global narrative of a great deluge, a sudden and cataclysmic event that submerged entire landscapes and civilizations. The Sicilian Channel monolith is more than just a piece of rock. It is a profound clue. It is a testament to the sophistication and resilience of our ancient ancestors and a direct challenge to our modern understanding of history. It proves that the earth beneath the waves holds secrets that can redefine our past and force us to look at our own story with a sense of wonder and humility. The sea guards its secrets, but occasionally it washes a truth onto our shores, a truth carved in stone, waiting to be read. Our journey into the forgotten past takes a dramatic turn from the warm, azure waters of the Mediterranean Sea to the cold, dark depths of the Baltic Sea. Here, in the shallow waters off the coast of Rerik, Germany, a discovery has been made that is forcing archaeologists to rewrite the story of prehistoric Europe. It is a massive, submerged structure, a silent witness to a world that was lost beneath the waves, the Rerik stone wall. First detected by sonar in 2021, this colossal formation is nearly a kilometre long, a low-lying but undeniably artificial row of over 1,600 stones and boulders. At first glance, it might seem like a natural glacial formation, but upon closer inspection, its design reveals an intelligence far beyond the random work of ice and tide. The stones, some weighing several tons, are not haphazardly arranged. They are placed with a deliberate purpose, connecting larger, immovable boulders to form a continuous line. This isn't a freak of nature, this is an act of construction. But the most astonishing fact about this wall is its age. Scientific analysis has dated its construction to approximately 11,000 years ago, a time when the Baltic Sea was not a sea at all, but a vast dry plain. This was the landscape of the early Holocene, a land of tundra and steppe, inhabited by herds of reindeer and roaming bands of hunter-gatherers. Conventional history tells us that these people were nomadic, living in small groups, with no need for large-scale engineering. And yet here stands a monument of immense scale, built by a culture we believed was incapable of such a feat. So why was it built? Mainstream archaeology suggests the wall served a pragmatic purpose, a hunting drive. By strategically placing the wall next to a former lake or bog, the ancient builders could have funneled migrating reindeer herds into a narrow killing ground. It's a plausible, rational explanation that fits neatly into the narrative of Stone Age hunter-gatherers. But when viewed through the lens of our larger theme, the existence of a forgotten pre-flood civilization, a more profound possibility emerges. The Rerik stone wall was built at the cusp of a great environmental change. Around 8,500 years ago, as the ice sheets melted and sea levels rose, the plain where this wall stood was gradually swallowed by the encroaching waters, forever hiding its secrets at the bottom of the Baltic Sea. But what if its purpose was not solely for hunting? What if it was part of a much larger plan? Could the Rerik wall have been a testament to a society that understood the rhythms of the planet on a cosmological scale? Was it not just a hunting tool, but a boundary marker, a part of a larger, now submerged landscape, designed by a people with an intimate knowledge of their environment? The rise of the sea that submerged this wall is a mirror of the same catastrophic flooding event that forced the abandonment of other ancient sites around the world. The wall stands as a tangible, silent witness to a great deluge, a massive work of stone that was built on dry land and now serves as a reminder of what was lost. The Rerik stone wall is a powerful testament to the forgotten genius of our ancestors. It shows that even in an age we call primitive, humans were capable of grand vision, sophisticated engineering, and the ability to work together on an unimaginable scale. It forces us to ask, what other monuments lie hidden beneath the waters of our oceans, waiting to be rediscovered and to tell their part of the story? In the Emerald Hills of County Meath, where morning mist dances through ancient landscapes and Celtic legends whisper in the wind, stands one of humanity's oldest and most sophisticated observatories. Newgrange rises from the Irish countryside like a great sleeping giant, its massive circular mound concealing chambers that were already ancient when the first stones of Stonehenge were laid. Built over 5,000 years ago, this Neolithic masterpiece represents not just architectural achievement, but a cosmic understanding that challenges everything we thought we knew about Stone Age capabilities. The approach to Newgrange fills visitors with growing anticipation, its white quartz facade gleaming like a beacon across the Boyne Valley. This isn't mere decoration, but engineered brilliance. The carefully selected quartz stones were transported from the Wicklow Mountains, over 50 miles away, chosen specifically for their ability to reflect light and create a luminous surface that would have been visible from vast distances. The builders weren't just creating a monument, they were crafting a landmark that announced its presence across the ancient Irish landscape. The precision of Newgrange's construction becomes apparent as one examines its massive stones. The entrance stone, decorated with intricate spirals and geometric patterns, serves as more than artistic expression. It functions as a key component in the monument's cosmic machinery. These carvings required tools and techniques that shouldn't have existed in an era when metal was unknown. Yet the precision of the carving, the complexity of the patterns, and the mathematical relationships embedded in the designs all speak of minds capable of abstract thought and symbolic representation that rivals any achievement of later civilizations. But Newgrange's true genius reveals itself only on the winter solstice, when ancient engineering performs its most spectacular demonstration. For just 17 minutes around sunrise on December 21st, sunlight penetrates the carefully engineered roof box above the entrance, travels down the 19-metre passage, and illuminates the inner chamber with golden light. The accuracy required for this solar phenomenon staggers modern observers. The roof box opening measures just 38 centimetres high, yet it captures sunlight with such precision that the beam illuminates specific points within the chamber with clockwork regularity year after year. This demanded understanding not just of the sun's movements, but of precession, that slow wobble in Earth's rotation that shifts astronomical alignments across centuries. Inside Newgrange, the sophistication of Stone Age engineering becomes even more apparent. The passage and chambers were constructed using corbelling techniques that create a watertight roof without mortar or metal supports. Each stone was precisely positioned to support those above it while maintaining the exact angles necessary for the solar alignment. The result is a structure that has remained dry and intact for over 5,000 years, its interior chambers as pristine as the day their builders sealed them. The stones themselves tell stories of logistics that challenge conventional understanding of Neolithic society. Many of the massive orthostats that line the passage were transported from quarries dozens of miles away, their selection based on specific properties of size, shape, and geological composition. Moving stones weighing several tons across the Irish landscape would have required coordinated effort by hundreds of people, a sophisticated understanding of leverage and transport and social organisation capable of sustaining such projects across generations. The astronomical knowledge embedded in Newgrange extends beyond the winter solstice alignment. The monument's orientation and internal features appear to track multiple celestial events, creating a Stone Age computer capable of predicting astronomical phenomena with remarkable accuracy. The artistry found at Newgrange rivals any produced by later civilizations. The spiral motifs, diamond patterns, and geometric designs carved into the massive stones represent more than decoration. They appear to encode mathematical relationships and possibly astronomical data. Some researchers identify patterns that correspond to lunar cycles, while others note relationships that mirror the golden ratio and other mathematical constants. Irish mythology preserves echoes of Newgrange's builders in tales of the Tuatha De Danann, the legendary people who possessed magical abilities and profound wisdom before fading into the other world. These stories may represent cultural memories of the actual builders, whose achievements seem so extraordinary to later generations that they became attributed to supernatural beings. The alignment of mythology with archaeological evidence suggests that Newgrange wasn't just a monument, but a legacy of knowledge passed down through generations of oral tradition. As winter light continues to penetrate Newgrange's ancient chambers, the monument stands as a testament to humanity's earliest scientific achievements. Its builders created more than architecture. They crafted a bridge between earth and sky, embedding cosmic understanding in stone that would preserve their knowledge for millennia. High on the wind-swept plateau of the Golan Heights, where ancient volcanic stones scatter across rolling hills like pieces of a titan's chess set, lies one of the Middle East's most mysterious monuments. Rujm el-Hiri, known to locals as the stone heap of the wildcat, spreads across the landscape in massive concentric circles that can only be fully appreciated from the air. This 5,000-year-old enigma challenges our understanding of Bronze Age capabilities. Its precise construction and astronomical alignments, speaking of knowledge that shouldn't have existed in an era when human civilization was supposedly taking its first tentative steps toward complexity. The scale of Rujm el-Hiri overwhelms visitors who approach on foot. What appears from a distance as scattered stone becomes, upon closer inspection, a carefully engineered complex of interconnected walls forming 5 concentric circles with a combined diameter of 160 meters. The outermost ring alone contains over 8,000 tons of basalt stones, each one carefully selected and positioned with a precision that speaks of master planners working to an overarching design that encompassed not just architectural achievement but cosmic understanding. The basalt stones themselves tell a story of logistics that defies easy explanation. These volcanic rocks, some weighing several tons, were quarried from sources scattered across the Golan Plateau and transported to the site using methods that remain mysterious. The precision with which they were fitted together, without mortar or metal tools, creates walls that have withstood 5 millennia of earthquakes, weather, and human interference. What techniques allowed Bronze Age builders to achieve such structural integrity using only stone tools and human muscle? At the heart of Rujm el-Hiri lies perhaps its greatest mystery, a massive stone cairn that rises over 4 meters above the surrounding walls. Archaeological excavation of this central structure revealed a burial chamber containing the remains of a single individual, interred with grave goods that suggest high status but provide few clues about the monument's builders or their culture. The burial appears to have been added later, perhaps by people who recognized the site's sacred significance, without fully understanding its original purpose. The geometric precision and cosmic orientation suggest that Rujm el-Hiri was designed as a bridge between the earthly and celestial realms, a place where the people of the Golan could connect with the movements of the universe. This raises profound questions. How did a supposedly primitive Bronze Age culture develop the skills and astronomical knowledge necessary to build such a sophisticated observatory? The basalt stones themselves hold clues, with some showing evidence of a powerful, repetitive force used in their placement and shaping. The fact that the site has endured for 5,000 years speaks to the durability of its construction. Rujm el-Hiri's builders understood the principles of creating stable, interlocking structures that could withstand the powerful geological forces of the region. This foresight suggests a long-term vision that aimed to preserve knowledge for generations to come, embedding scientific and spiritual wisdom in a form that would outlast the civilization that created it. Local legends of the region, while scarce, hint at a time when the land was populated by beings with supernatural strength who could move mountains and shape stone with ease. These stories, much like those found near other megalithic sites, may be fragmented memories of a forgotten civilization whose technological capabilities were so advanced they seemed like magic to subsequent cultures. As the sun sets over the Golan Heights, casting long shadows across these ancient stone circles, Rujm el-Hiri stands as a silent testament to a lost age of knowledge and achievement. This enigmatic monument forces us to reconsider what our ancestors were capable of, and to ask if the dawn of civilization was not a slow, halting process, but the scattered remnants of a far more brilliant past. In its silence, we hear the echoes of a world that understood the rhythm of the cosmos and built a monument to match it. In the heart of the Arabian Peninsula, where endless dunes stretch toward horizons shimmering with heat, stands one of geology's most perplexing puzzles. Al-Naslaa rock rises from the desert sands, like a monument to precision itself. Its massive sandstone form, split by a cut so perfect that it challenges the boundary between natural phenomenon and artificial intervention. This towering formation, adorned with ancient petroglyphs that speak of civilizations lost to time, presents a mystery that has captivated researchers and visitors alike, forcing us to question our understanding of both geological processes and ancient human capabilities. The first glimpse of Al-Naslaa stops visitors in their tracks. The rock formation towers over 6 meters high, its bulk supported by 2 natural pedestals that seem impossibly delicate for such massive weight. But it's the cut that draws gasps of amazement, a perfectly straight line that divides the monolith into 2 equal halves, creating a gap so uniform that it appears machine-made. The precision of this division defies conventional geological explanation. Its laser-like straightness, maintaining consistent width from top to bottom with an accuracy that would challenge modern cutting equipment. The sandstone itself tells a story spanning millions of years, its layers recording ancient seas and desert conditions that shaped the Arabian Peninsula long before human civilization emerged. Yet the cut through this formation appears recent in geological terms, its surfaces showing minimal weathering compared to the surrounding rock faces. This temporal puzzle adds complexity to an already mysterious formation. How could such precision be achieved in rock that should show clear signs of natural erosion processes? Examination of the cutting surfaces reveals characteristics that mystify geologists. The faces of the cut are remarkably smooth, lacking the irregular surfaces typical of natural fractures or weathering processes. No tool marks are visible, yet the precision exceeds what should be possible through natural geological forces. Some researchers propose that freeze-thaw cycles could have created the split, but the uniform width and perfect straightness of the cut challenge this explanation. Others suggest underground water pressure or seismic activity, but these mechanisms typically create irregular fractures, not precision cuts. The petroglyphs adorning Al-Naslaa's surface add human mystery to geological enigma. These ancient carvings depict humans and animals with artistic skill that speaks of sophisticated culture, yet their age and creators remain unknown. The style suggests creation by pre-Islamic Arabian peoples, but the lack of archaeological context makes precise dating impossible. What makes these carvings particularly intriguing is their positioning relative to the cut. Some petroglyphs appear to continue across the gap, suggesting they were carved before the division occurred. Local Bedouin legends preserve stories about Al-Naslaa that speak of supernatural forces and ancient magic. These tales describe powerful beings who could shape stone with their breath, creating monuments that would endure until the end of time. While such stories might seem fanciful to modern minds, they echo similar traditions found near unexplained megalithic sites worldwide, suggesting cultural memories of capabilities that seemed supernatural to later generations. Could these legends preserve actual memories of advanced techniques that created Al-Naslaa's perfect cut? The positioning of Al-Naslaa within the broader landscape reveals additional mysteries. The formation sits in alignment with other unusual rock formations scattered across the region, creating patterns that some researchers interpret as intentional arrangements. If true, this would suggest that Al-Naslaa is part of a larger complex of modified natural features, transformed by unknown hands into a network of landmarks or monuments whose purpose remains hidden in antiquity. Photography of Al-Naslaa reveals details that become apparent only upon close examination. The consistency of the cut's width, the parallel alignment of the surfaces, and the absence of debris that should result from either natural fracturing or artificial cutting all contribute to the formation's mysterious nature. Climate data from the region indicates that Al-Naslaa has weathered multiple ice ages and climate shifts that would have subjected the formation to extreme temperature variations and moisture cycles. Yet the precision of the cut has remained intact throughout these environmental stresses, suggesting either remarkable geological stability or formation methods that created inherently stable structures. The durability of the cut across such time frames adds to the mystery of its creation. The magnetic properties of the rock around Al-Naslaa have revealed unusual readings that don't match typical sandstone formations. These anomalies suggest either unique geological conditions at the site or possible effects from unknown formation processes. The magnetic signatures add another layer of mystery to a formation that already defies easy categorization. As the desert wind continues to whisper around this ancient enigma, Al-Naslaa stands as a challenge to our understanding of both natural processes and human achievement. Its perfect cut represents a precision that transcends conventional explanation, forcing us to question whether our ancestors possessed capabilities we've forgotten or whether natural forces can achieve accuracies that seem impossible. In the shadow of this divided monolith, we confront the humbling reality that our world still holds secrets that challenge our most fundamental assumptions about the past. Beneath the cerulean waters of the Mediterranean, where ancient currents carry whispers of civilizations lost to rising seas, lies one of the most compelling pieces of evidence for advanced pre-flood cultures. Off the coast of Syria, near the ancient island of Arwad, massive stone blocks rest on the seafloor like pieces of a drowned puzzle, their megalithic proportions and precise construction challenging our understanding of both ancient capabilities and sea level changes. These submerged ruins speak of a time when the Mediterranean coastline looked vastly different, when lands now claimed by the sea supported sophisticated civilizations whose monuments now serve as silent testimony to humanity's forgotten past. The discovery of Arwad's underwater structures emerged gradually through the patient work of marine archaeologists who recognized that the Mediterranean's depths might hold secrets as significant as any found on land. What they uncovered exceeded even their most optimistic expectations. Massive limestone blocks, some weighing over 10 tons, arranged in patterns that clearly indicate artificial construction. These weren't stones randomly scattered by natural forces, but carefully positioned megalithic structures that once stood proud above ancient shorelines. The scale of the submerged construction rivals anything found in terrestrial megalithic sites. Individual blocks measure up to 4 meters in length, their surfaces showing evidence of careful shaping and precise fitting despite centuries of submersion in saltwater. The engineering required to work with stones of this magnitude would have challenged any ancient civilization. Yet here, they rest beneath the waves, testament to capabilities that conventional archaeology struggles to explain. What methods could have moved and positioned such massive stones in an era when metal tools were primitive and mechanical advantage was limited? The positioning of these underwater megaliths reveals sophisticated understanding of structural engineering principles that wouldn't be formally described for millennia after their construction. The blocks are arranged to create stable foundations that have withstood centuries of current action, wave erosion, and seismic activity. Their joints fit together with precision that suggests mathematical knowledge and surveying capabilities that allowed builders to maintain accuracy across structures hundreds of meters in extent. This level of planning and execution speaks of civilizations with technical knowledge that rivaled later classical achievements. Marine archaeology has revealed that Arwad's submerged structures show clear evidence of deliberate construction rather than natural formation. The blocks are arranged in linear patterns that follow consistent orientations, creating foundations and walls that clearly served architectural purposes. Tool marks preserved on some stones indicate cutting techniques that achieved smooth, flat surfaces, despite working with limestone, a relatively soft stone that requires careful handling to avoid fracturing during carving. The depth at which these megalithic blocks rest provides crucial evidence for understanding ancient sea level changes and their timeline. Current depths of 6 to 8 meters below sea level indicate that the structures were built when the Mediterranean stood significantly lower than today. This aligns with geological evidence for the post-glacial sea level rise that occurred between 12,000 and 6,000 years ago, when melting ice sheets added over 120 meters of water to the world's oceans. The Arwad structures were likely built during this transitional period and gradually submerged as waters rose. Local Syrian legends preserved in coastal communities speak of ancient cities that once flourished where only waves now roll. These stories describe advanced civilizations with magnificent stone buildings who were warned of approaching waters but chose to trust in their engineering rather than flee to higher ground. The tales tell of how the rising seas gradually claimed these coastal settlements, leaving only scattered ruins beneath the waves to mark where great cities once stood. Could these legends preserve actual memories of the civilizations that built Arwad's submerged megaliths? The construction techniques evident in the underwater blocks mirror those found at terrestrial megalithic sites across the Mediterranean and beyond. Recent underwater surveys using sonar mapping have revealed that the visible megalithic blocks represent only a small portion of a much larger submerged complex. Additional structures lie buried beneath centuries of marine sediment, their outlines visible only through advanced sensing techniques. The full extent of Arwad's underwater ruins may encompass several square kilometers, representing one of the largest submerged archaeological sites in the Mediterranean. What secrets remain hidden beneath the accumulated sand and sediment of 40 centuries? The preservation of these ancient structures beneath the sea presents both challenges and opportunities for archaeological investigation. While saltwater erosion has damaged surface details, the constant temperature and protection from atmospheric weathering has preserved structural elements that might have been lost on land. Analysis of the limestone used in Arwad's construction reveals that the stones were quarried from specific geological formations that can be traced to their sources. This geological detective work shows that the builders transported massive blocks across significant distances. The coordination needed to quarry, transport, and position such materials speaks of complex societies with specialized roles and advanced knowledge of engineering principles. The ecological impact of Arwad's submergence provides additional insights into the environmental changes that affected ancient civilizations. The dating of Arwad's submerged structures remains challenging due to the marine environment, but geological and archaeological evidence points to construction during the early post-glacial period when sea levels were rising but had not yet reached modern heights. Modern attempts to understand how ancient builders could have accomplished such underwater construction have led to theories about techniques for working in shallow water or on exposed seafloors that are now submerged. Some researchers propose that the structures were built on dry land and later submerged, while others suggest construction methods that could work in shallow marine environments. Arwad's submerged megaliths stand as proof that human achievement extends far back into prehistory. These underwater monuments represent more than architectural curiosities. They provide tangible evidence that sophisticated civilizations flourished before the great post-glacial flooding that reshaped coastlines worldwide. Our journey now takes us to the mist-shrouded hills of Zhejiang province, where bamboo groves whisper secrets to the wind. And the earth holds one of China's most perplexing archaeological mysteries. The Longyou caves. These underground caverns remained hidden beneath farmland until 1992, when curious local farmers made a discovery that would challenge everything archaeologists thought they knew about ancient Chinese civilization. What they found was not just a cave, but an entire underground world carved from solid siltstone with a precision that defies conventional explanation. The scope of the Longyou caves takes the breath away. 24 chambers discovered so far, each one a cathedral-sized space, hollowed from bedrock, with mathematical precision that speaks of master engineers working to a grand design. The largest chamber spans over 2,000 square meters, with ceilings soaring 30 meters overhead, creating spaces vast enough to house modern aircraft. Yet every surface shows evidence of careful planning and meticulous execution, from the perfectly angled walls to the precisely carved pillars that support these underground cathedrals. What strikes visitors most immediately is the complete absence of historical records. No Chinese text mentions the cave's construction. No official chronicles record their existence. This silence is unprecedented in a culture that has maintained detailed historical records for over 3,000 years. How could a project of such magnitude, one that would have required thousands of workers labouring for decades, vanish so completely from human memory? The precision of the carving work reveals techniques that mystify modern engineers. Every surface bears the marks of tools that cut through solid siltstone with consistent accuracy across thousands of square meters. The parallel grooves left by these implements maintain a uniform depth and spacing with machine-like precision, yet no evidence exists of the tools themselves. Perhaps most mysteriously, despite housing what must have been one of the largest construction projects in ancient history, the caves contain no artifacts, no debris, no evidence of the people who built them. It's as if the builders completed their work and then vanished, taking with them every trace of their presence except the caves themselves. The acoustic properties of the Longyou caves add another layer of mystery to their design. Sound behaves in these spaces with uncanny precision. Whispers carry clearly from chamber to chamber, while footsteps echo with cathedral-like resonance. The lighting mystery deepens the enigma. Despite their vast size and underground location, no evidence exists of the fire damage that would inevitably result from torch or oil lamp illumination. The ceilings show no soot stains. The walls bear no carbon deposits, yet the precision of the carving work required abundant light to achieve. How did ancient workers illuminate these spaces during construction? What lighting methods left no archaeological trace? Geological analysis reveals that the caves were carved from solid siltstone, a material that required specific techniques to work without causing catastrophic collapses. The builders demonstrated intimate knowledge of rock mechanics, creating support systems that have maintained structural integrity for thousands of years. The angle of carved surfaces, the placement of supporting pillars, and the distribution of weight all reflect engineering understanding that rivals modern tunnel building techniques. The chamber's geometric precision suggests a mathematical knowledge that extends far beyond practical construction needs. Measurements reveal consistent ratios and proportional relationships that appear to follow complex geometric principles. Some researchers identify patterns that mirror musical harmonies, while others note alignments that suggest astronomical observations. Water management within the caves reveals another level of sophistication. Despite their underground location and the region's high water table, the caves remain remarkably dry. Drainage systems carved into the floors channel moisture away from the main chambers with an efficiency that modern engineers struggle to explain. How did ancient builders understand hydrology well enough to create drainage systems that continue functioning after millennia? As mist continues to rise from the cave entrances, carrying with it the whispered secrets of their construction, these underground cathedrals represent more than architectural mastery. They embody the dreams and knowledge of a civilization that invested generations in creating spaces whose purpose remains as mysterious as their construction methods. Across the rolling hills of southern Ohio, where ancient forests once whispered secrets to indigenous peoples and modern agriculture now stretches toward distant horizons, lies one of North America's most enigmatic monuments. The Great Serpent Mound undulates across the landscape like a massive earthbound constellation, its 400-metre length following the natural contours of a meteor-scarred plateau with precision that speaks of astronomical knowledge and earthworking capabilities that challenge our understanding of pre-Columbian achievements. This isn't merely an earthwork, but a masterpiece of landscape architecture that integrates cosmic observation with artistic vision on a scale that rivals anything produced by ancient civilizations worldwide. The approach to Serpent Mound fills visitors with growing appreciation for the monument's sophisticated design. From ground level, The earthwork appears as a series of gentle rises and depressions that might be natural features of the landscape. Only from elevated viewing platforms does the full magnitude of the achievement become apparent, a sinuous form that flows across the plateau with mathematical precision, its curves and angles calculated to create a serpentine shape, visible only from above. This aerial perspective was clearly intentional, suggesting builders who understood that their monument was meant to be observed from the sky, as well as walked upon by earthbound visitors. Each curve of the serpent's body maintains consistent proportions and relationships, creating flowing lines that please the eye while serving astronomical functions that demonstrate sophisticated understanding of celestial mechanics. The serpent's head aligns with the summer solstice sunset, while its body follows stellar patterns that would have allowed ancient observers to track seasonal changes and predict important agricultural and ceremonial dates. The engineering challenges overcome in Serpent Mound's construction speak to organizational capabilities that conventional archaeology struggles to explain for pre-Columbian Ohio cultures. Moving the thousands of tons of earth required to create the monument would have demanded coordinated effort by hundreds of workers, sophisticated planning to ensure consistent proportions across the entire length, and surveying techniques capable of maintaining accuracy over nearly half a kilometre of construction. Archaeological investigation has revealed that Serpent Mound was constructed using techniques that demonstrate intimate knowledge of soil mechanics and long-term stability. The builders selected specific types of clay and stone to create a structure that would maintain its shape across centuries of freeze-thaw cycles, rainfall, and erosion. The internal construction includes drainage features and support systems that continue to function today, protecting the monument from the geological forces that should have degraded its precise curves over the past millennium. The astronomical alignments built into Serpent Mound extend beyond simple solar observations to encompass complex stellar phenomena that would have required generations of careful study to document. Recent research has identified alignments with specific star patterns, lunar cycles, and even precession effects that demonstrate knowledge of celestial mechanics that rivals anything achieved by classical civilizations. Native American traditions preserved by regional tribes speak of the Serpent Mound as the work of ancient ancestors who possessed knowledge that was later lost to warfare and environmental catastrophe. These oral histories describe builders who understood the movements of stars and seasons, who could predict eclipses and celestial events with precision that made them revered as intermediaries between earth and sky. The stories tell of how this wisdom was carefully preserved in the earth itself, embedded in monuments that would survive whatever disasters might befall their creators. Sites like Newark earthworks and Cahokia demonstrate similar precision in their celestial alignments and construction methods, creating a network of monuments that may have functioned as an integrated system for tracking cosmic cycles across the North American continent. The meteor crater beneath Serpent Mound adds another layer of mystery to the site's selection and construction. The builders chose to create their monument on a landscape feature created by cosmic impact, perhaps recognizing the spiritual significance of ground that had been touched by celestial fire. This choice suggests worldviews that saw connections between earthly and cosmic phenomena, integrating scientific observation with spiritual belief in ways that created monuments serving both practical and sacred purposes. Recent ground-penetrating radar surveys have revealed subsurface features around Serpent Mound that suggest the visible earthwork represents only a portion of a larger complex. Additional mounds, buried structures, and worked earth features extend far beyond the serpent itself. The dating of Serpent Mound remains contentious, with estimates ranging from over 2,000 years ago to relatively recent construction by historic Native American groups. Carbon dating provides conflicting results due to the reuse of materials and later modifications, while archaeological context offers limited clarity about the original builders. This temporal uncertainty adds mystery to a monument already remarkable for its precision and astronomical sophistication. The preservation of Serpent Mound through centuries of environmental stress and human activity demonstrates the durability of its construction methods. The builders created their monument to withstand not just immediate environmental challenges, but long-term geological processes that would have destroyed less carefully engineered earthworks. This long-term thinking suggests civilizations planning not just for their own lifetimes, but for the indefinite future. Preserving their knowledge in forms that would outlast whatever challenges time might bring. As seasons continue to change above this ancient earthen serpent, and modern visitors walk the same pathways trod by its builders. Centuries ago, Serpent Mound stands as testament to human vision that transcends conventional understanding of pre-Columbian capabilities. This flowing monument represents more than earth-moving achievement. It embodies the synthesis of scientific observation, artistic vision, and spiritual understanding that created one of the world's most sophisticated landscape sculptures. In the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean, where endless blue waters meet the sky at the edge of the world, stands Rapa Nui, Easter Island, home to one of humanity's most haunting mysteries. Here, nearly 900 stone faces gaze eternally toward the horizon, their expressions frozen in contemplation of secrets we can only guess at. These are the Moai, silent sentinels that have watched over their isolated kingdom for over 1,000 years, bearing witness to both the rise and fall of the civilization that carved them from a volcanic stone, with tools and techniques that continue to puzzle archaeologists. The sheer magnitude of Easter Island's achievement becomes clear when one considers its profound isolation, over 2,000 miles from the nearest populated land. This tiny speck of volcanic rock hosted a civilization that created some of the world's most enigmatic monuments. How did Polynesian settlers, arriving in simple outrigger canoes, develop the sophisticated quarrying and carving techniques necessary to create nearly 900 statues, some weighing over 80 tons? The logistics of this achievement challenge our understanding of what isolated communities could accomplish with limited resources. Each Moai represents a masterpiece of stone carving that reveals intimate knowledge of the island's volcanic geology. Carved primarily from tuff at the Rano Raraku quarry, these statues demonstrate techniques that maximize the stone's workability while ensuring structural integrity across centuries of Pacific storms. The precision of the carving shows an understanding of rock mechanics that allowed sculptors to create details so fine they seem almost alive. The transportation of these massive statues across the island presents one of archaeology's most enduring puzzles. Traditional theories involving wooden rollers and rope systems struggle to explain how Easter Island's limited population could have moved statues weighing dozens of tons across terrain that includes steep slopes and uneven ground. Recent experiments suggest the Moai may have been walked upright using ropes and coordinated rocking motions. But even this technique would have required sophisticated understanding of physics and engineering that seems remarkable for a supposedly isolated Stone Age culture. The positioning of the Moai reveals an astronomical and geographical knowledge that extends far beyond mere statue placement. Most face inland, watching over the island's inhabitants, but the 7 Moai at Ahu Tongariki face the ocean, aligned with the spring equinox sunrise. Archaeological excavations have revealed that many Moai possess full bodies buried beneath centuries of accumulated soil and debris. These hidden torsos bear additional carvings, including symbolic representations that may have held religious or ceremonial significance. The discovery of these buried sections revolutionized the understanding of the statues, revealing them to be far more complex than the simple heads visible above ground. The cultural collapse of Easter Island civilization adds tragedy to the mystery. When European explorers first arrived in the 18th century, they found a population struggling to survive on a deforested island where the magnificent statue-building tradition had ceased. Environmental degradation, possibly combined with climate change and social upheaval, had transformed a thriving civilization into scattered tribes. What happened to the knowledge that created the Moai? How did such sophisticated engineering capabilities vanish so completely? Recent research suggests that Easter Island's environmental collapse may have been triggered or accelerated by natural disasters. Evidence of tsunami damage, volcanic activity, and climate fluctuations paint a picture of a civilization struggling against forces beyond their control. The Rongorongo script found on Easter Island represents one of the few indigenous writing systems ever developed in Polynesia, yet its meaning remains largely undeciphered. These intricate symbols, carved on wooden tablets, may preserve the history and knowledge of the Moai builders. If decoded, Rongorongo might reveal the techniques used in statue construction, the purpose behind their creation, or the circumstances that led to the civilization's decline. The script tantalizes researchers with the possibility of unlocking Easter Island's greatest secrets. The quarry at Rano Raraku holds additional mysteries in the form of nearly 400 unfinished Moai in various stages of completion. This abandoned workforce in stone suggests that statue production ceased suddenly, as if some crisis forced the immediate abandonment of work that had continued for generations. What event could have been significant enough to halt such an important cultural practice so abruptly? As the Pacific wind continues to whisper around these ancient faces, the Moai stand as eternal questions carved in stone. They represent humanity's drive to create meaning and permanence in the face of an uncertain world, monuments that outlasted the civilization that created them. In their silent gaze, we glimpse both the heights of human achievement and the fragility of the societies that make such achievements possible. Beneath the crystal-clear waters surrounding Japan's westernmost island, where Pacific currents carry the stories of vanished lands, lies perhaps the most controversial underwater monument ever discovered. The Yonaguni monument emerges from the seafloor like a stepped pyramid crafted by unknown hands. Its geometric terraces and precise angles defying conventional explanations about natural rock formation. This massive structure, carved from sandstone bedrock, rises 25 meters from the ocean floor with architectural features that include stepped pyramids, platforms, and what appear to be carved channels and symbols. The monument's discovery by diving instructor Kihachiro Aratake in 1986 sparked debates that continue to divide archaeologists and geologists. Those who argue for natural formation point to the sandstone's tendency to fracture along regular planes, while others note the presence of features that seem impossible to explain through geological processes alone. Perfectly straight edges, precise angles, and carved symbols that bear striking resemblances to ancient Japanese architectural elements. The depth at which Yonaguni rests provides crucial dating evidence. The structure lies in waters that were above sea level over 12,000 years ago, during the last ice age, when ocean levels stood 120 meters lower than today. If artificial, the monument would represent one of the oldest examples of monumental architecture ever discovered, predating the pyramids of Egypt by millennia and challenging our entire understanding of human cultural development. Most intriguingly, the Yonaguni monument shares architectural similarities with megalithic sites across the Pacific, suggesting possible connections between ancient civilizations that spanned vast oceanic distances. The stepped pyramid design echoes monuments found from Peru to Cambodia, while the precision of the construction mirrors techniques found at sites worldwide that we've explored tonight. In the remote reaches of the Pacific, where tiny coral islands dot endless blue expanses, stands one of the most extraordinary examples of ancient hydraulic engineering ever conceived. Nan Madol, built on artificial islands in the lagoon surrounding Pohnpei, represents a feat of construction that challenges our understanding of what ancient Pacific peoples could achieve. This Venice of the Pacific consists of nearly 100 artificial islands connected by a network of canals, constructed entirely from massive basalt columns that were somehow transported across open ocean from distant quarries. The logistics of Nan Madol's construction boggle the mind. The basalt columns, some weighing up to 50 tons, were quarried from sites on opposite sides of Pohnpei Island and transported across treacherous waters to be positioned with precision that created stable foundations in a marine environment. The engineering required to build artificial islands in a tropical lagoon, complete with drainage systems and tidal controls, demonstrates hydraulic knowledge that rivals modern coastal engineering. Local Pohnpeian legends speak of the city's builders as sorcerer kings who could command stones to fly through the air, positioning massive basalt columns with supernatural ease. These stories describe a golden age when the rulers of Nan Madol possessed knowledge of levitation and stoneworking that seemed magical to later generations. While such tales might seem fantastic, they echo similar traditions found worldwide near megalithic sites, suggesting cultural memories of construction techniques that appeared supernatural to observers. The builders created channels and locks that control water flow throughout the complex, maintaining optimal water levels in different areas while preventing the silting and stagnation that would naturally occur in such an environment. The timing of Nan Madol's construction and eventual abandonment aligns with global patterns of civilizational rise and decline that occurred around the time of post-glacial climate changes. The complex appears to have been built between 1200 and 1500 CE, but local traditions suggest much earlier origins, with the megalithic foundations potentially dating to periods when sea levels and climate conditions were significantly different from today. We now travel high into the Peruvian Andes to the ancient heart of the Inca Empire. Here, near the city of Cusco, stands the fortress of Sacsayhuamán. Its name, often translated as Satisfied Falcon, belies its true nature. A colossal display of impossible stonework that predates the Inca themselves. This is not a rough-hewn fortress, but a cyclopean wall built from massive, multi-ton blocks that fit together with a precision that defies explanation. The walls of Sacsayhuamán are constructed from gargantuan stones, some weighing over 100 tons. Their faces cut with such intricate polygonal shapes that each one serves as a puzzle piece in a seamless, mortarless tapestry of stone. The joints between these blocks are so tight that a single sheet of paper, let alone a knife blade, cannot be slipped between them. Yet the surfaces are irregular, full of bumps and hollows that interlock perfectly with their neighbours, creating a structure of unparalleled durability. This isn't just craftsmanship. It is an intimate knowledge of material science and an engineering feat that has allowed it to survive countless earthquakes that have devastated modern buildings in the nearby city of Cusco. Local Quechua legends speak of the stones being softened by a forgotten plant extract, allowing them to be shaped like clay before they hardened again. This may seem like a myth, but it echoes a recurring theme at megalithic sites worldwide. The idea that ancient builders possessed a technology for working stone that has been lost to time. The precision, the lack of tool marks, and the sheer scale of the work at Sacsayhuamán all suggest that something other than copper and bronze chisels was at play. But even Sacsayhuamán pales in comparison to its enigmatic neighbour, Puma Punku, high on Bolivia's Altiplano. This site represents perhaps the most precisely cut stone masonry ever achieved by ancient hands. Here, massive andesite and sandstone blocks bear evidence of machining techniques that create surfaces flat to tolerances measured in millimetres, with complex interlocking joints that seem designed by minds that understood engineering principles we've only recently mastered. The precision of Puma Punku's stonework surpasses anything found at other ancient sites. Blocks weighing over 100 tons were cut with accuracies that would challenge modern machine shops, their surfaces showing no tool marks, yet achieving finishes that seem almost polished. The complexity of the joints, with their intricate male and female connections, required three-dimensional thinking and mathematical precision that suggested the use of templates or plans that could maintain consistency across dozens of massive blocks. The transportation logistics present even greater mysteries than the precision cutting. Andesite blocks were quarried from sites over 60 kilometers away across mountainous terrain at altitudes that challenge human endurance. Moving stones weighing hundreds of tons across such distances would test modern heavy lifting equipment. Yet somehow, ancient builders accomplished this feat using techniques that left no archaeological trace of their methods. Local Aymara traditions preserved by indigenous peoples speak of Puma Punku as the work of the gods, built in a single night by beings who possessed control over stone and gravity that allowed them to shape and move massive blocks as easily as handling clay. These legends describe a time before the sun rose in the sky, when powerful beings created the monuments. The unfinished nature of the site, with scattered, half-carved blocks, suggests that work was abruptly halted, as if a catastrophic event interrupted the project. This aligns with the global pattern of flood narratives, suggesting that a great cataclysm may have brought an end to this advanced civilization, leaving behind only the impossible stones as a silent testimony to their lost knowledge. In the Andes, we find a narrative written in stone, one that tells of a pre-Inca civilization with capabilities that defy our imagination, a civilization that was built for an eternity it never reached. In their precise joints and massive scale, we confront the humbling possibility that the greatest engineering achievements of the past may still exceed our current capabilities. From the Peruvian Andes, we now travel to southeastern Turkey to explore a bombshell that has shattered the foundations of conventional history. Discovered in the 1990s, the colossal Göbekli Tepe complex of circular stone enclosures is roughly 12,000 years old, predating Stonehenge by more than 6,000 years and the Great Pyramids by 7,000. It forces us to ask a question that was once considered absurd. What if civilization didn't begin with agriculture, but with worship? What if humanity's first great act was to build a sanctuary, not to plant a crop? Göbekli Tepe consists of a series of monumental stone rings, each centered by two massive T-shaped pillars carved from the local limestone. These monolithic pillars, some weighing up to 20 tons and towering 16 feet high, are not just stones. They are abstract representations of humanoid figures. We know this because archaeologists have discovered carvings of arms and hands on their sides, with a belt or a loincloth depicted at the base. This is a level of artistic and engineering sophistication that simply should not have existed during the pre-pottery Neolithic period, a time when humanity was supposedly still composed of nomadic hunter-gatherers. The very existence of this site and the dozens of other, smaller complexes now being discovered in the region challenges the entire narrative of human progress. But the most profound secrets of Göbekli Tepe are not in its size, but in its surface. Its pillars are covered with an incredible bestiary of carved animals, from snakes and foxes to spiders and scorpions. These are not just random images. Researchers are increasingly making a compelling case that these carvings are not simply artistic renderings of animals, but a sophisticated star chart, a celestial tapestry woven in stone. This is best exemplified by the famous vulture stone, or Pillar 43, in Enclosure D. On this single stone, we see a constellation of figures: a vulture, a scorpion, a goose, and a headless human figure with an erect phallus. While this iconography has been widely debated, one of the most intriguing interpretations suggests the stone is a pictographic representation of a catastrophic event. According to this theory, the animals correspond to constellations, with the headless man representing the moment of a cosmic impact. The date it points to is eerily specific, 10,150 BCE, a period that coincides almost exactly with the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. The Younger Dryas was a sudden and dramatic return to Ice Age conditions that plunged the planet into a 1,200-year cold snap. This event, which has been confirmed by geological evidence, occurred right at the time Göbekli Tepe was constructed. While the official explanation points to a complex mix of ocean currents, and climate change, a growing body of evidence suggests it was triggered by a cosmic event, the fragmentation of a massive comet that slammed into the Earth. The vulture stone at Göbekli Tepe, according to this theory, is a commemorative monument, a warning etched in stone about what happened. It is perhaps the oldest recorded testimony to a global catastrophe. This brings us to the site's ultimate and most baffling mystery, its deliberate burial. After centuries of use, the people who built Göbekli Tepe made a conscious decision to bury it. They didn't simply abandon it. They filled the circular enclosures with rubble, covering the monumental pillars and sealing the site from the heavens. The sheer scale of this task is staggering, requiring more effort than the original construction. Why would a people so reverent of this sacred place choose to entomb it? Could the burial of Göbekli Tepe represent an attempt to preserve sacred knowledge before an approaching cataclysm? The careful nature of the concealment suggests builders who knew something was coming, who desperately sought to protect their wisdom for future generations to rediscover. The conventional answer is that its ceremonial purpose changed, or that the culture evolved and a new religion took its place. But when viewed through the lens of a great flood, a different, more chilling explanation emerges. If the Younger Dryas was indeed a cataclysm of cosmic and hydrological proportions, perhaps the burial of Göbekli Tepe was not an act of abandonment, but one of preservation. Perhaps this was a sacred act of sealing a monument, protecting it from a coming or ongoing disaster that the builders had the foresight to see. They didn't simply bury their temple, they encased it in a time capsule, a message in a bottle for a future civilization to find and decode. The timeline of Göbekli Tepe's burial aligns remarkably with flood traditions from around the world. Many cultures place their Great Deluge narratives around this same period, suggesting a global catastrophe that devastated early civilizations. So this monumental act of preservation suggests a level of conscious planning and historical awareness that completely upends our understanding of humanity. It suggests they were not just living in the present, but building for a future, encoding their knowledge and history in the very stone they revered. Excavations continue to reveal new complexes beneath the earth, suggesting that what we've uncovered represents only a fraction of Göbekli Tepe's true extent. Recent discoveries include carved skulls and evidence of complex rituals that may have involved the veneration of ancestors. These practices suggest a spiritual sophistication that parallels the site's architectural achievements. As archaeologists carefully excavate each new section, they uncover more evidence of a lost sophistication that predates the supposed dawn of civilization by thousands of years. The story of Göbekli Tepe is not just about a lost temple. It's about a lost civilization that knew how to build, to watch the stars, and to warn a future generation about a great catastrophe. High in Lebanon's Bekaa Valley, where cedar-scented winds whisper through ancient stones, stands perhaps the most audacious display of megalithic mastery ever conceived by human hands. Baalbek defies not just explanation, but belief itself. Here, beneath Roman temples that themselves inspire awe, lies a foundation of stone blocks so massive that modern engineering struggles to comprehend their existence. These are the trilithon stones, 3 limestone giants, weighing 800 tons each, placed with such precision that 19 centuries have failed to shift them even a millimetre. The approach to Baalbek fills visitors with a growing sense of impossibility. The Roman temple, impressive as it is, serves merely as ornamentation atop a foundation that predates it by unknown millennia, a foundation built by hands and minds that possessed secrets, lost to time. The trilithon stones themselves represent a feat so extraordinary that it borders on the mythical. Each block measures 19 metres in length, 4 metres in height, and 3 metres in depth. Dimensions that reduce human observers to ant-like insignificance. Yet these are not the largest stones at Baalbek. In the nearby quarry, still attached to the bedrock, lies the Stone of the Pregnant Woman, a single block weighing over 1,000 tons, carved with a precision that suggests its creators fully intended to mow. it to join its massive brothers in the temple foundation. How does one even begin to comprehend the logistics of moving such monuments? Modern engineering requires some of the world's largest cranes to lift loads of this magnitude, and even then, such operations demand months of planning and specialized equipment worth millions of dollars. Yet somehow, ancient builders not only moved these stones, but placed them with mathematical precision, creating joints so tight that centuries of earthquakes have failed to disturb their alignment. The quarrying process itself presents mysteries that deepen with every examination. The limestone cuts show evidence of techniques that leave no tool marks modern archaeologists can identify. The surfaces are smooth, precise, and consistent across vast areas of stone, suggesting cutting methods that could maintain accuracy across dozens of meters of rock face. Transportation from quarry to temple presents even greater puzzles, as the weight involved defies conventional solutions. The pressure exerted by such weight would crush most surfaces, requiring prepared pathways that themselves would represent engineering marvels. Local legends preserved in Lebanese folklore speak of giants who built Baalbek, beings of superhuman strength who could lift stones that dozens of ordinary men could not budge. While such stories might seem fanciful, they echo similar traditions found near megalithic sites worldwide, suggesting cultural memories of a people whose capabilities so exceeded normal human limitations that they seemed supernatural to later generations. The precision of stone placement at Baalbek reveals a mathematical sophistication that rivals modern surveying techniques. Each trilithon block sits in perfect alignment with its neighbours, their surfaces matching so precisely that the joints appear as hairline cracks in an otherwise seamless stone wall. Archaeological evidence suggests that the massive foundation stones of Baalbek significantly predate the Roman construction above. The weathering patterns, construction techniques, and architectural styles all point to different eras of building, with the megalithic foundation representing an unknown civilization that Romans discovered and built upon. The astronomical alignments built into Baalbek's design demonstrate knowledge that extends far beyond mere construction technique. The temple complex aligns with celestial events and solar positions with precision, suggesting builders who understood the movements of heavenly bodies across centuries. Perhaps most intriguingly, recent archaeological investigations have uncovered evidence of water damage on the ancient stones. Erosion patterns suggest flooding on a scale that would have submerged much of the structure. This aligns with the global pattern of flood evidence found at megalithic sites worldwide, reinforcing theories about a great deluge that swept across the ancient world, destroying the civilization that created these monuments. The nearby quarry holds additional mysteries in the form of partially completed blocks that were abandoned mid-construction. These unfinished stones, including the famous Stone of the Pregnant Woman, suggest that work at Baalbek ceased suddenly, as if some catastrophe interrupted the builders' plans. As the sun sets behind the trilithon stones, casting shadows that have fallen in precisely the same patterns for millennia, Baalbek stands as a testament to human potential that transcends conventional understanding. These massive blocks represent more than architectural achievement. They embody the dreams and capabilities of a civilization that dared to build for eternity, creating monuments that would survive whatever cataclysm they may have foreseen approaching. In their shadow, we glimpse the possibility that our ancestors' greatest achievements may still lie buried beneath the assumptions of conventional archaeology. We have travelled to the most distant corners of our world, and in each place we have found a common language spoken in stone. It is a language of impossible precision, of feats of engineering that defy the known capabilities of the civilizations to which they are attributed. The silent watchmen of Easter Island, the subterranean puzzle of the Longyou caves, and the megalithic stones of Göbekli Tepe, they all whisper a similar story. The true power of these sites lies not in their individual mysteries, but in the striking parallels that emerge when we view them together. What if The same technology that allowed the Collar people to cut and fit stones with razor-thin precision was also the technology that left the geometric, machine-like marks on the Masuda no Ewaun. What if the same knowledge of harnessing the Earth's energies that could explain the Ishino-Hoden's floating ability was also used in the construction of the Baalbek trilithon to lift its massive stones? These monuments, separated by oceans and continents, tell a shared story. A story of a civilization that had mastered stone, not through brute labour, but through a forgotten science. A civilization that could build with a precision that speaks of prefabrication, of standardized parts, and of a universal understanding of engineering that was then lost. This was a world that understood the power of cosmic alignments and telluric forces. A world that was interconnected and shared a common knowledge base. The stones themselves bear witness. They are a library of a lost past, their chapters waiting to be read, not with an open book, but with an open mind. They stand as a testament to the fact that human history is not a straight line of slow upward progress. It is an arc, a rise and a fall, and these monuments are the remnants of the peak. They are a breadcrumb trail left by our ancestors, a desperate attempt to communicate with the future, to warn us, to inspire us, and to remind us of the great, forgotten potential of our species. The stones have shared their secrets with us tonight, but their whispers raise more questions than they answer. They force us to ask, what if these civilizations, this forgotten golden age, were wiped out by a flood so great that it reset human progress, leaving behind only the most durable, most powerful monuments as its legacy? Could it be that the flood narratives, found in cultures as diverse as the Sumerians and the Incas, are not separate myths, but fragmented memories of the same terrifying event? And what other monuments wait beneath jungle canopies or ocean depths, ready to rewrite our understanding of human achievement? If these stories have stirred something within you, a recognition of our species' forgotten greatness, let us know your theories in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to join our growing community of seekers and watch our next exploration into the mysteries that conventional history refuses to acknowledge. Until then, sweet dreams, fellow guardians of human wisdom.